Want to know what Italian children make when autumn arrives and the mountain forests start dropping their prickly treasures? They create the most beautiful garlands, not from flowers, but from something much more special. Picture this. You're in a little village tucked into the Italian mountains, and the air smells like wood smoke and roasting chestnuts. And everywhere you look, there are these spiky green shells cracked open on the ground. Oh my goodness, Italy in autumn! The hillsides are covered in chestnut trees that have been growing there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the villages celebrate with these amazing festivals called Sagre delle castagne, chestnut festivals. I was wandering through a mountain village in Tuscany one October afternoon when I heard this brilliant sound. Children laughing and music playing and the most delicious smell drifting through the air. So naturally, I followed my nose. And there, in the village square, was this enormous celebration. There were stalls roasting chestnuts over open fires, grandmothers making chestnut flour pasta, and right in the middle, this big table where children were sitting with baskets full of glossy brown chestnuts. There was a girl called Giulia, and she looked up at me with flour on her nose. "Stiamo facendo ghirlande di castagne," she said proudly. That's Italian for, "We're making chestnut garlands." She showed me what she was doing. First, her papà, that's Italian for dad, had used this special tool to carefully make a tiny hole through each chestnut. You have to be really careful, because chestnuts are quite hard and roundy, so they like to roll away. Giulia's little brother Matteo was chasing runaway chestnuts across the cobblestones, making everyone laugh. Once the chestnuts had their little holes, Giulia threaded them onto strong string, one by one. Some children were making simple garlands, just chestnuts in a row, like beads on a necklace, but others were getting really creative. Matteo's friend Sofia was alternating chestnuts with dried orange slices that smelled absolutely gorgeous. Another boy called Luca was adding bay leaves between each chestnut, and the whole garland smelled like an Italian kitchen. Giulia's nonna, that's Italian for grandma, sat nearby, threading chestnuts with these quick, practiced fingers. "When I was your age," she told me in her lovely sing-song Italian voice, "we made these garlands and hung them in our houses to dry. Then in winter, when food was scarce, we'd cook the dried chestnuts in soups and stews." She explained that chestnut trees have fed Italian mountain families for centuries. We call the chestnut tree l'albero del pane, the bread tree, because chestnuts kept people's bellies from grumbling through hard winters. But nowadays, the garlands are mostly for decoration and celebration. Giulia showed me how they'd hang them across doorways and windows, or give them as gifts to neighbours. Some families still dry them for cooking, but mostly they're beautiful reminders of autumn's generosity. What I loved most was watching the different generations working together. Nonnas teaching grandchildren, older siblings helping younger ones thread their needles, papàs carefully making holes while chatting with friends. Matteo finally managed to thread 3 whole chestnuts without dropping any, and everyone cheered like he'd won a medal. The festival continued all afternoon. There was music and dancing, and everyone kept eating roasted chestnuts from paper cones. They peeled back the shells with their fingers, releasing little puffs of steam, and popped the soft, sweet insides into their mouths. By evening, the whole square was decorated with chestnut garlands. They hung from lampposts and doorways and tree branches, catching the golden light. Each one was different, some simple, some elaborate, each one showing the personality of the child who made it. And you know what? In Italian mountain villages in autumn, you can still see these beautiful castagna garlands hanging in windows and doorways. Sweet-smelling reminders that autumn isn't just about things falling and ending, but about communities gathering to celebrate nature's gifts together. Now here's what I want you to think about. What grows near you that people have used for hundreds of years? Maybe it's something you walk past every day without noticing. A special tree, or a plant, or something else nature provides. This week, I want you to look around your neighborhood and notice what autumn is offering. Maybe you could make your own garland from fallen leaves, or acorns, or seed pods, whatever nature is giving you right now. What would your autumn garland look like?